Can you guys see? Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna start. All right. So this presentation is gonna be knowing your rights. So you guys said the Bill of Rights is just a bunch of rights. Do you know specifically what they are? Okay, you guys are getting kind of close. So basically, the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. So originally, they made the Constitution with all the laws and all the rights that they thought people should have. And then an amendment is basically when you need to change something, you need to add something or take away something that wasn't previously there. So the first 10 of those are called the Bill of Rights. Why do you guys think that they're important? They're the main rights? Yeah, they're kind of like the main rights that our country is founded on. So we're going to get into it. We're not going to do all 10 today just because it's going to take up too much time. So we're going to do 5, and plus we have to watch the video that we're going to do. So the First Amendment, Mottman gave us some of the answers. So you have the freedom of religion, freedom of speech and press, freedom to petition the government, and freedom to assemble peacefully. So, Marosha, can you tell me what the freedom of religion entails in the First Amendment? There's two parts to it. Okay. Do you know what the other part of the freedom of religion is in the First Amendment? Mottman, you know it? Very good. So the two parts of the freedom of religion is that Congress, the government, no one can make a national religion. So they can't say, okay, this is the new religion, and this is what the new religion entails, and everybody has to follow it. Because we have freedom of religion, there's never going to be a national religion. The other part of that, as Marosha was telling us, is that you have the freedom to practice your religion any way that you want to, as long as it doesn't infringe on the rights of other people. So you can't say, okay, my religion is slap people and we just go around slapping people. Because that actually, you guys are laughing, that might be someone's actual religion. But you couldn't have that religion in the United States. Why? Yes. Adele. Because it's assault and battery and it infringes on the rights of other people. Great. Yes. You have a question? I have an answer. You forgot it? Okay, so whenever you remember it, just raise your hand and we'll come back to you, okay? Okay, so freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Salah, what is that? Okay, you remember right now. What's your question? Oh, you're talking about laying hands on people. That's different because the people who are getting the hands laid on them, they actually consent to it. So it's kind of different. Okay, so freedom of speech and press. Salah, what is that? And what about freedom of the press? Oh, yes, Mamin? Kind of. So that freedom of the press more so relates to typing. So freedom of speech means you can say whatever you want. If you think Obama's a great president, you think he's a bad president, you think Congress is doing a good job, you think they're doing a bad job, you have the right and the freedom and the ability to say that if that's how you feel. With the press, that means that you can type that. So an example of a country who doesn't have that right would be like Venezuela. I don't know if you guys have seen what's going on in the news with Venezuela right now, but basically the people were unhappy with the government, and so they were using social media, using Twitter, using Facebook, using Instagram to let everybody else around the world know what's going on and how they're being treated unfairly by their government, and their government shut down Twitter. So you can't use Twitter at all in Venezuela because it's shut down. Uh, okay, you can't use YouTube in Pakistan. So that would be an example of another country that doesn't have that same right. Okay, so the third one, Miriam, freedom to petition the government. What do you think that means? Yeah, so if there's something that's going on with the government that you don't like, that you don't think is correct and you don't think is fair, you can go to the government and say, hey, I don't like this. You can go to town hall meetings. A lot of people don't know, for example, if there's something in Massachusetts that you guys don't like, you can call your governor and you have the right and the ability to speak to him and say, hey, I don't like X, Y, and Z, or you guys are voting on this particular thing next month or next week, and my opinion is that it should be this, this, that, and he's supposed to take your opinion into consideration. You can go to his office and schedule a meeting and sit down and talk with him. Now, some people don't use this right because they don't have the time or they just don't know that they have that kind of power. But any person who's a governor or a county commissioner or alderman or the president, a senator, state representative, they are what's called politicians, which the root of that word is from the Greek. It means to serve the people. So they're basically at the service of the people. Okay, does everyone understand? Anyone have a question so far? Okay, Motman, what does it mean? It says freedom to assemble peacefully. What does that mean? Exactly. So you have the right to gather together in a place as long as no one's getting hurt. You guys are not damaging public or private property. You have the right to assemble peacefully. In some countries, give me 1 second, Adele. You in some countries, for example, like in Venezuela, people are actually getting hurt and injured and killed by the police just for assembling peacefully. I think there's already been like three people who gotten killed that are like 21, 22 years old. So that right is non-existent there, but we have it here. Go ahead, Adele. You wanted to make a comment? No, ma'am. You get 5 minutes in between each presentation to use the bathroom, get whatever supplies you need. Anybody else have a question, comment, concern? Okay, so we're going to move on to the second one. So the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. What does this amendment mean? You can have guns, right? So it seems very simple, yet and still there's all this controversy going back and forth concerning gun laws while Obama is in office, right? So we're gonna watch these two videos. I want you guys to really pay attention so that we can have some good discussion after we're done watching the videos. I'm gonna put the caption on because I know that you guys usually can't hear anything when the videos are on. So let me see. You can hear it in Chrome? Okay, well, let's try that then. Okay, I'm going to put the captions on just in case, but I want you guys to let me know if you can hear it or not, okay? You can hear it? Perfect.
15A requires, then, yep. I need to make sure you're not a felon. Do you suspect me of being a felon? I don't know you. Okay, if you don't suspect me of being a felon, then I would like my gun back and I would like to proceed on my way. In order to carry a gun, you're not allowed to be a felon. Correct, but unless you suspect me of being a felon, there's no reason for you to stop me. There is a reason to stop you. Unless you suspect me of a crime, as Terry v. Ohio, Delaware v. Kraus requires you to have a suspicion of crime before you detain an individual. Brown v. Texas does not allow you to stop an individual and demand their ID. Can I get you first name so I can speak to you on a person-to-person basis here? No. You're not going to give me a... No, I'm not going to be that type of guy when I'm trying to have a conversation. I'm sorry, sir, but for my own protection, I would rather not give you anything because any name I give you is going to go in the police report about this incident. There's going to be no police report. There's a police report generated for every call. Yep. And unless you have a reasonable suspicion that I'm committing a crime, you can't detain me. I have to be free to leave. It has to be a consensual encounter, sir. Here's the deal, sir. You were walking down Congress Street carrying a gun. Yes. Okay. Is that illegal? It's a cause for concern. Do you suspect me of committing a crime? Sure. Do you suspect me of committing a crime, yes or no? Suspenders. Keep my pants up. Yeah, that's the buckle for the suspenders. Yep. It's illegal, common practice. It's not illegal. You see a guy walking down the street carrying a gun. Yep. Is that the only reason why you stopped me? Yes. That I'm carrying a gun? Yes. Okay. In that case, I want you to refer you to DeBerry v. U.S. DeBerry v. U.S. says that a firearm, where legally carried, cannot be the only cause for reasonable suspicion for a stop. Am I free to go? Okay. Can I have my gun back? Thank you.
Okay, so what happened in the video, guys?
Not bad.
Hold on one second. Sorry, I need to stop the video.
Okay, I don't...
Okay, what were you saying now? Right. So the only thing is you can't carry a firearm if you're a convicted felon. But if you have a concealed weapons license, you're able to just walk around with a gun. Do you guys think that's a good thing or a bad thing? A good. Okay, wait. So my screen just messed up, so I can't see you guys. So I need you to tell me who you are and then tell me why you think it's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, thank you. Okay, does anyone else want to add to that? Those are both very good points. No one else wants to add? Okay, are you guys ready for the next video? Okay. Give me 1 second. I hate Firefox. Okay, this one is about 6 minutes long, so I know it's a little bit longer than we're used to, but it's really important. So I just want to make sure I have you guys' attention. I'm going to put the caption on this one as well. You can hear it? Can you hear it? The volume? It's up pretty high. Can you hear it?
Geneva County Massacre. Michael Kenneth McClendon began his rampage by killing his mother and burning her home. He then murdered more family members and took off in his car, killing indiscriminately as he went. Following a police chase and shootout, he committed suicide.
Okay, so just read the captions.
A list of people who had done him wrong. His reason for killing was never established. Number 9, the 2011 Tucson shooting. U.S. Representative Gabrielle Giffords and some constituents were gathered in a grocery store parking lot when Jared Lee Loughner pulled out his gun. Among those killed were a federal judge, one of Giffords' employees, and a 9-year-old girl. Giffords herself was also shot at point-blank range, and while she was initially listed as critical, she pulled through and made a truly inspiring recovery. Number 8, the Beltway sniper attacks. John Allen Muhammad and Luka Boyd Malvo taunted police and held Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia hostage by randomly shooting unsuspecting citizens from long distances.
Nothing like this has ever happened in Montgomery County. This is a very safe community. Our homicide rate just increased by 25% in one day.
The pair was finally caught after intense news coverage 3 weeks later, and the rumored motive was Muhammad's anger at his ex-wife. While that was not proven, Muhammad was executed in 2009, and Malvo is serving 6 life sentences without the possibility of parole. Number 7, the Fort Hood shooting. This Texas spree was the worst shooting ever on an American military base. The accused was Army psychiatrist Major Nidal Malik Hassan, whose apparent belief in radical Islam, suspected al-Qaeda ties, and alleged anger at the supposed war crimes of recently deployed soldiers he treated were tapped as possible motives. While he was paralyzed in the event, his trial was repeatedly delayed by his refusal to shave his beard based on religious beliefs. Number 6, tower shooting at the University of Texas at Austin. After killing his wife and mother, former Marine Charles Whitman climbed the university's clock tower and inflicted almost 2 hours of panic upon the area by randomly shooting passers-by.
This is a KRN News Bulletin. A sniper with a high-powered rifle has taken up a position on the observation deck of the tower on the campus of the University of Texas.
His reign of terror ended when he was shot by a cop, and during his autopsy, he was found to have a fatal brain tumor that might have been the cause of his rage. Number 5, San Isidro McDonald's massacre. Police procedure was never the same once this Mexico border town was hit by the bloody rampage of a man who said he was hunting humans. James Oliver Huberty killed 22 people, ranging from 8 months to 74 years old, before he was downed by a sniper's bullet inside a McDonald's. Huberty's wife later unsuccessfully attempted to sue the restaurant chain by claiming their chicken McNuggets led to her husband's psychosis. Number 4, 2012 Aurora shooting.
You guys remember this?
During a midnight premiere of The Dark Knight Rises, James Egan Holmes caused panic with tear gas and gun, killing 12 and injuring 58. Cops were on site within a minute and a half, and Holmes was apprehended soon after, but the damage was done. A gag order prevented his motive from being immediately made public, but rumors swirled that he referred to himself as the Joker. Number 3, Luby's Massacre. In the deadliest U.S. shooting before 2007, George Hennard drove through the window of a Phoenix, Texas diner and opened fire. Anger towards women and frustration over losing his job might have been contributing factors, though his motive was never established. Survivor Susanna Hupp later lobbied heavily for concealed weapons laws as a member of the Texas House of Representatives based on her experience that day.
I've been sitting here getting more and more fed up with all of this talk about these pieces of machinery having no legitimate sporting purpose, no legitimate hunting purpose. People, that is not the point of the Second Amendment.
Number 2, Virginia Tech Massacre. Virginia Tech was a gun-free zone when South Korean national Sun Hee-cho began targeting what he called rich kids, debauchery, and deceitful charlatans with gunfire. Despite tales of teachers and students sacrificing themselves for others, this was still the deadliest shooting by a lone gunman in U.S. history, and it ended when the shooter took his own life. In the wake of this tragedy, school security countrywide increased. Number 1. The Columbine High School massacre. Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris plan to use guns and homemade bombs to cause anarchy at their Littleton, Colorado school. The bombing failed, but Columbine was still one of the deadliest ever American school shootings. Images from that day continue to haunt us, and the massacre was blamed on bullying, violent movies and video games, goth culture, and even Marilyn Manson. But the shooter's suicides make the motive even tougher to decipher.
Okay, so what do you guys think? I have an answer for it. You're talking about Leroy Malvo. Usually the way that that works is a life sentence is only 25 years. So usually what happens is if a person is convicted of multiple murders and the the worst sentence they can give you is a life sentence, which is 25 years, they'll usually give you one life sentence for every person that you kill, or they'll give you enough so that you don't outlive your sentence. Who is that now? I would have to look them up. I'm not exactly sure who that is. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not exactly sure how that works specifically because it would be like a different sentence. Like it's stuff for kidnapping, then it would be stuff for like torture and cruel and unusual punishment. So it's a lot of I don't think it works like that. Mm, allegedly. Okay, so what do you guys think about the second video? Mottman, did your opinion change or do you still have the same opinion? Still have the same opinion? Okay. Adele, did your opinion change or you still have the same opinion? Okay, Marosha, what's your opinion on the Second Amendment? Why or why? Okay. Miriam, what do you think? Okay, why do you think we should and why do you think we shouldn't? Okay. Sure, who's speaking? Who? Okay. I mean, you think that, but I mean, you have those people, for example, the guy who did the clock tower, he was a Marine. You know, you would think that he would be a good guy, right? What about the guy who did Sandy Hook? He didn't have any criminal record. Um, and he shot up a school of elementary students. So, okay, so you want people to be able to only get a gun if they have a psych examination? Okay, so Salah, do you want to add anything? All interesting, very, very interesting opinions. Okay, so we're going to move on for the sake of time because we spent a lot of time on the Second Amendment, but I really wanted you guys to see both sides of the issue. You know, you had this gentleman who was walking up the street, he was carrying a gun, but he wasn't doing anything, and technically the police were wrong for stopping him. The police officer said that it was a cause for concern, but he actually wasn't breaking any law. And then you see videos like this. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Third Amendment, which the Third Amendment is kind of like not necessarily outdated, but we don't really see it too much anymore. It was made for like the Revolutionary War, and it says the right to refuse shelter to troops in time of war or peace, which a lot of the soldiers were coming to the different colonists' house and saying, "Oh, you know, I'm fighting in this war, fighting for your freedom," or fighting on the other side. So therefore, you need to like let me live at your house and let me, eat all your food. It's kind of irrelevant right now. So then, yes, you had a question. Okay. Okay. No problem. Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day. Thank you.